I'm so hungry.
How hungry are you, Mike?
I'm so hungry I could eat the ass end out of a dead rhino.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week, the third Wolverine outing is getting a little old.
Okay.
John Williams is going to stay around for a while, speaking of old people. And there's an Injustice coming. Yeah. That's ominous and more.
Yeah, and just before we started reading this, you were rushing to open something. What were you opening?
It's a Red's Wicked Black Cherry.
Okay, because you said ecto cooler for a second there, and I got a little flustered.
Okay, so just to give you people a little bit of background, I got 36 cans of ecto cooler this week.
You jumped on it. Like, how soon did you go to buy them from when you heard that they were available?
I saw someone said they're available on Amazon, and within like a minute, I had already purchased 36 cans.
Because like as soon as I saw the message that you sent me, fucking all sold out. So I have no idea when I'm going to be able to get them. So I got to check Amazon again. But I think our original plan was we're going to do a spoiler cast for Ghostbusters.
Yes.
And then we're going to open the show drinking Ecto Cooler, mainly because I haven't tasted Ecto Cooler since I was a little boy in elementary school. So I want to record the moment where everything rushes back when I drink it, because supposedly it's the exact same flavor as it was.
Yeah. So, and I have 36 cans, and a lot of people know this, and everyone wants some, and I'm like, okay, I'll drink it with my family, because that's a special occasion. But then Mike was reminding me of the Ghostbusters, so I'm like, okay. So I've been giving out cans, watching them drink it while I have to not drink it.
Well, it's good. You're a drug dealer that's not doing your own drugs. That's good.
Not getting high on my own supply yet. But Lord knows when Ghostbusters comes out the week after my wedding, I have a whole month to wait on these Ecto Cooler drinks. We're gonna be enjoying those. So so looking forward to that. Now you did something last night over the weekend. You went to it's Point Break Live is what you call it.
Oh, now, this was amazing.
So explain it to me, because in my head when I think of this, I'm like, Point Break the movie, but it's like a stage version.
Yeah. So
explain it to me so I get what's going on.
So imagine a group of about maybe like 6 to 8 people. Put on a live performance of the movie Point Break, but it is totally low budget, just a hilarious fun affair of what it is. So the venue is like super low key and small, like people crammed in there to watch this. The stage is like not even like dressed in anything. It's hilarious. They sell you ponchos because there's like waterworks and there's fake blood and squibs and stuff that they make. And when you go in, you're getting into something when they're duct taping like blue tarps to their giant speaker sets, and then the background is just like gray tarps, and there's like this half inflated palm tree on this bar and everything. And you're just like, what did we get into? Like, I knew I wasn't necessarily going into like a giant theatrical expensive thing. So we walk in. And my wife knew some of the details of the show, so I was kind of prepared. So basically what it is everybody but Keanu Reeves is cast for this live performance thing. And then at the beginning of the show, the air quotes I'm putting around the word director, or the actor who is playing the director of the movie, comes out with a megaphone and says, unfortunately, we do not have a big enough budget to hire Keanu Reeves to do the show, so we need to get someone from the audience to play Keanu. So they have volunteers come up on stage, and she puts them through a couple paces to see who's going to be the best Keanu. And the person that the crowd ended up picking by applause was this guy who was there. I think it was maybe his bachelor party or something like that. But he was the perfect Keanu. And I think it just goes to show you that, like, just you can pick any random person out of the crowd and they could make a good Keanu. He had good, like, Keanu vibes. He had that blank stare that was perfect. So basically, they just kind of go through the motions of the show, and everything's super low budget. They're using like these really crappy plastic guns, but all the actors are super into it, and it's hilarious, and it's just such a fun time. They're like engaging with the audience. Like, have you seen the movie Point Break before?
Oh, it's been a very long time, and I did not watch the remake.
Okay, well, that's good. They made a joke in the show about, I can't believe they remade this movie. But there's bank robbery scenes in the movie. So when the actors come out to quote unquote rob the bank, they take people in the front row, and we were in the front row, and they tell you to get down on the ground because they're like robbing the bank and stuff, and they speak to the whole crowd like we're people trying to get into our bank accounts and stuff, and they take people out of the crowd and hold them hostage. But I think the funniest part of the entire night is at the very beginning, we haven't been introduced to the Surfer Bros yet. We've been introduced to Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Utah. We've been introduced to his partner. Gary Busey plays him. And so the guy who was, quote-unquote, playing Gary Busey is just ridiculous. But anyway, so they're over there, and they're just like, so what's your theory? Who do you think did this? And he's like, I think it's surfers. Then all of a sudden, on the other side of the room, where that's darkened, lights up, and there's these dudes that are like in bathing suits, like drenched in water, and they're hanging inside of this booth over people that thought that they were safe picking that booth to sit in, and they're just like lounging over there with the spotlight on them, just water dripping off them into these people's drinks and stuff like that. It's just so funny. I took a picture of that specific moment and I put it up on my Instagram. So all I have to say is the show is winding down. I think they've been doing this for quite a few years. And they do it in other cities too. I know there's a few shows on the East Coast. I think there's a couple in the middle of the country. I know there's a few on the West Coast. And they said that there's only 3 shows left for them. So I don't know if just the LA Point Break Live is wrapping up or if it's going to be other places, but you got to go see this if it's in your city or you're close to it. It's totally worth it. It's like $30. You get like a poncho. You even get a meatball sub with the price of the ticket. And like the place that we were at, the bar was open the whole time, so you can just like get up and like go to the bar. It was an amazing experience. I'm so glad we went. It's just ridiculous. And if you've seen Point Break, just imagine trying to adapt that into a live performance with like no money. It's ridiculous, and I go see it. 10 out of 10. Better than Batman, Superman.
Mike's recommendation yet again to go see Point Break Live, the movie that you didn't know needed a live action set piece. That's awesome. On that note, I want to switch gears. I want to give a shout out to Mitch Buckley from Perth, Australia.
Ooh, down under.
Yes, I was going to do a really bad Australian accent and then decided, you know what? I don't want to run him off.
Don't want to offend the one fan that we have halfway across the world.
Yeah, and I tell you what, his email, little heartwarming for us. You know, we don't know who listens to the show. I mean, we have our super fans, and we love you guys. We love everyone who listens to the show, but we don't know, who listens where. So that was kind of cool to see it. And he has a couple questions, Mike, and I'm going to ask them to you. Maybe you can answer them for us.
All right, here we go.
Okay, first off, are we going to be doing our famous guest episodes anytime soon? What do you think?
That would be fun. It depends, because this is like a news type of show, so we're never 100% sure like kind of what's going to be in the topic for that week. So, and then when we kind of get the idea of what we're going to talk about, we think, oh, do we know anybody that might be able to speak kind of intelligently or humorously to that subject? So we'll have to see. I mean, we don't talk too much about video games, but I know there's one video game out there that's getting really, really popular, and we do have a friend of the show that has been playing it with you very heavily. So maybe we need to bring Quentin back on the show. You guys can talk about Overwatch a little bit. Maybe you guys can like plug your Twitch live streams that you've been doing.
And try to convince you to buy an Xbox as well, like we always do.
Well, we'll have to see. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but there is going to be E3 news coming up probably next week's episode. So usually there's like price drops announced, stuff like that, bundles in the air. We'll have to see how that goes down, but it'd be cool to bring some people back on the show. It's always funny trying to cram people into one of our rooms around our microphone setups, but we can make it work.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the hardest parts about the show, I mean, not for us, but maybe for other people, is we live across the United States from each other. If we were in the same room, we'd be like, yeah, come on in the room. We'll talk in a room. It's easier. But kind of introducing people to our vibe, our flow, it's a little not easy, but not rough. But let's do it. Let's get somebody. We'll figure out what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna do it. And we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
So.
All praise our Skype overlords for making this possible.
That's right. Thank you, Skype. Second question, last question here. He wants to know the origin of our cold open lines that we do on every episode.
I'm trying to remember why exactly we wanted to start doing them to begin with. I think there was like some other podcasts out there that I listened to that kind of just randomly interjected things sometimes.
Was it Marone? Mark Marone's?
You mean Mark Maron? No, I don't. I don't know if he does them, but I just thought it was just a fun little tidbit to start out the show. But it turns out to be more taxing than we think it's going to be, because that's the last thing we plan. So we hop up and we start the recording. We're just like, oh man, what are we going to say? And like, I think a couple of times we've had no idea, and then like I've just made random noises, and then we've just used the random noise clip. But the one from today's episode was a quote from Point Break that me and my wife had been repeating ever since we watched the movie yesterday morning and went to the show last night. So that was stuck in my head. So, and I think we did. You did like a sound bite from Overwatch like a week or two ago.
Yeah. Last week was from Overwatch, one of the quotes. And most of these, I mean, we record for several minutes before we start, doing the show. We don't just go into the show a lot of times. So we usually just take one of those things because that's our natural conversations.
Yeah,
they're kind of goofy, kind of out there. Never know what's going to happen. So
you always have some sort of bizarre joke that you picked up on that weekend that you like lay down, and I just like roll my eyes and laugh at.
Well, thank you. I need to laugh at that. But yeah, thank you, Mitch, for listening to us. Actually, one of my favorite podcasts is actually from Australia as well. So that's kind of funny, I guess, ironic, if you would. So so that's awesome. Thank you, Mitch, for writing us.
Yeah, big shout out to anybody that writes in. I know we got some super fans out there that have been sending us in like reviews of the movies that they went out and seen, and we love that. We might not always bring it up on the show, but I love reading what people thought about the movies they saw. So shout out to all you guys.
Yeah, it's funny. Super fan Jim, trying to hold his status as number one super fan because he's got some competition, it was talking about The Conjuring 2 with me today. So
oh wow.
He said it's good. It's done by James Wan. I think James Wan, he's one of those DC or
he's got I'm sure he's been promoted to some sort of big action flick. Yeah.
So there's that going on. Yeah. So that's superhero related. So if you want to see The Conjuring 2, James Wan, he's doing Aquaman. So.
Oh, all right, cool.
All right, well, let's jump into this news. We've gone on a little bit longer than usual today. That's all right. But the news I think is huge this week.
Yeah.
First off, we're going to talk Doctor Strange because I think it's very important.
What's going on?
So there's new merchandise coming up for Doctor Strange, and this is really going to put your lunchbox game on fleek, if I may use the vernacular. So there's really crazy-looking mugs. Got Benedict as Doctor Strange. You can kind of see they're going like a 70s kind of trippy coloration vibe on a lot of this stuff. And you can see the link here. It takes you to comicbookmovie.com, but you go down to the lunchbox. I know, again, this is kind of, I guess, concept artish looking, but I mean, I think the colors and the style and just the intricate details are awesome on these Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of evidence beyond just a few anecdotal occurrences, but I think lunchboxes are kind of maybe coming back collection-wise because it's a type of thing that I don't think a whole lot of people actually use. I think people just like to collect them. But like I supported like a Kickstarter a little while ago, and one of the rewards was like a custom like lunchbox. So maybe these are kind of like coming back. I've noticed like little people like to collect things, like because sometimes you like if you're getting older, you don't necessarily want toys and action figures as much, but you want to be able to display it. So maybe a lunchbox is a way to display that you like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, he needs all the help he can get here. Not a lot of people know him yet, so that'd be great. And next is a Lego set. Lego sets get leaked really early, and 9 out of 10 times, I don't think they have anything to do with the movie.
They're not always. Sometimes they're indicative, but sometimes they're not.
Yes. So the first one, it's a Doctor Strange Lego set. You can see Doctor Strange, Baron Mordo, and Wong fighting what appears to be some sort of tentacled, beaked monster coming out of a hole of some sort.
Yeah.
And when you look into the comics lore, you can see one of the characters is Shuma Gorath. Is actually the boss of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I think. For those people who played that. So it kind of looks like him. Will he be in the movie? I don't know. Maybe not. But you can definitely catch this Doctor Strange Lego set at some point in the near future. So add that to your collection, Mike, and then take it down a couple of months later.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure there's lots of people out there that just purely want to collect the Doctor Strange little figure to join their little Iron Man.
Yeah, no, totally. And lastly, the last bit of Doctor Strange news is Marvel has confirmed that they will be at San Diego Comic-Con this year, despite the fact Disney will not be.
That's big news because people were starting to get kind of. It's hard to get down on Comic-Con unless you're just like a curmudgeon, but people were starting to get a little worried. They're just like, hey, Marvel's not going to be there. I think Fox said that they weren't going to be there?
I think Fox was, because people were leaking their footage and they were getting all pissy about it. We've talked about it before.
But I think Marvel's just like, hey, we're the big guns. We're going to come here and we're going to show you the Doctor Strange love, because I think this kind of came on the tailwind of the banners starting to pop up in downtown San Diego, like the little light post banners, which was cool. Then that just gets me excited for Comic-Con.
Yeah, and what's really Marvel needs to do is get more people behind Doctor Strange. Again, he's kind of an unknown character. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy all over again. So they need a little people behind him, and in San Diego Comic-Con's a great place to do it. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy will be making an appearance with them as well.
I was excited to hear that.
So, really excited to see what they bring to there. That brings us to the next point. A movie we might not see, but maybe some concept art at San Diego Comic-Con is Thor Ragnarok.
Ooh, yeah, the goods. Give me the goods. What do you got?
So it begins filming July 4th. So that Monday,
this year, okay.
This year, it begins filming July 4th. So that means we're probably going to be seeing more concept art, some behind-the-scenes stuff. I really can't wait to hear more about Thor Ragnarok. Surprisingly, probably sounds like the best Thor movie out of all of them.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
a very, very anticipated film for next year, actually.
Yeah. I mean, if they're filming July 4th, this is a winter movie next year, I believe, correct?
Yes, correct.
So maybe there's a slight possibility, maybe like a teaser trailer by the end of the year, maybe just something very, very like rudimentary. But if not, we're probably going to have to wait until 2017 to see a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have in 2017, it starts the year off with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And that's the same time Doctor Strange released their trailer. So I expect, next April or May to see a Thor trailer, a teaser. So that
seems like it's so far away.
It does, and it'll be here before we know it, and we'll still be doing this show, Mike. But it also brings me to the next point. One of the most anticipated characters in Thor Ragnarok is the addition of Jeff Goldblum,
yes,
Grandmaster.
I love Jeff.
Yes, I know you do. I know I'm just bringing this up just for you, Mike. I know you get it. So, according to Jeff Goldblum, the Grandmaster is a hedonist and a pleasure seeker about the film. And he's an enjoyer of life and taste and smells, which kind of strikes me as a Jeff Goldblum type character.
Yeah, I think that works out really well. He did a really funny like GE light bulb commercial, I think, where he kind of played like a similar character where he's like shirtless in a hot tub the whole commercial. But oh man, I can't wait to see him bring his charisma to the Marvel universe.
Yes, and I hope it lasts more than one film. I think having like the Grandmaster and the Collector maybe show up in Infinity War as maybe. People who have knowledge of the elder parts of the universe would be really cool. So
yeah,
I hope there's more Jeff Goldblum in our future. That's all I can keep saying on that. And that actually brings me to Avengers Infinity War. Some news on that. Some great news. Alan Silvestri, the man who scored the Avengers film, the original Avengers film, is going to return to score both Infinity War films, whatever they may be called at that point in time.
Nice. Okay, cool.
I really like the Avengers music in the first movie. It's just something about it. It's just when you hear it, I'm like, I know what this is. It gets me pumped. It takes me back to those feelings of watching the first Avengers because I love that movie.
Man, I feel like you really had to dig to get that little bit of news because I feel like the John Williams news would have washed over any sort of Avengers scoring coming up.
You can tell that one came out first before the John Williams stuff we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But also the Infinity War, we talked about how they might call Avengers Infinity War Part 1 Avengers 3. Well, that was just a typo on that one article where they said they came back to clarify like the third Avengers film, and someone just assumed it meant Avengers 3. So we're clarifying that nothing is going to be called Avengers 3. Thank God.
Yeah,
we were not fans of that, as you can listen to last week's episode and find out. And that brings us to an interesting bit of news: Marvel Animation, something that we never talk about because I think they only do TV shows right now. Are working on Rocket, Groot, and Ant-Man short animated like segments or films or something like that.
That's weird. Wonder where they're supposed to go.
I don't know.
Like when I think of short, like is it supposed to lead? Like are they gonna tack it on to the beginning of movies, like maybe like Pixar does?
See, that's the thing. That's the rumor, is that these are going to be like done to be to replace the one shots, but kind of at the beginning of the film. Because there's, Ant-Man, again, he needs a little more to go on until his solo film. Rocket and Groot don't, I feel, but this is a French company called Film France. I can't even, I'm not going to try to pronounce some of these French things. But Ant-Man is currently not in the cartoon TV series, but Rocket and Groot are, so we'll have to see what's going on with this.
I like the idea of maybe including these on the digital or Blu-ray releases, because they kind of need something to like sweeten up that release. Like, oh, why do I buy this version, if I can just like stream it somewhere else? Because, they are going to start putting this stuff up on Netflix. So it makes me think like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. I like the idea of maybe buying Civil War on Blu-ray, and then I get a little short of like Ant-Man. Maybe it's just kind of like almost like an anticipation of like a little Ant-Man adventure that leads up to his next movie. It doesn't necessarily affect his canon so much, so the director doesn't have to be a slave to a little Ant-Man short that was made before. But yeah, I kind of like that idea. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah, the other alternate coin is that these could just technically be Disney XD shorts for their animated platform or maybe a digital platform. So
yeah, maybe there's probably like a Disney XD app or something out there, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, but it could go either way. But that's just kind of interesting news that they're kind of doing those with animated stuff. So just want to point that out. You like Stan Lee? I like Stan Lee. I
love Stan Lee.
My picture with him is in my living room. That's how much I like Stan Lee.
I love Stan Lee so much, I get worried every time I realize how old he is.
Anytime Stan Lee's in the news, you get a little concerned.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
Like Stan Lee is dead, tired of going to Comic Cons, like clickbait titles. Like I hate those.
Oh, that's awful.
Yes. But he did reveal his favorite superhero films thus far.
Ooh.
And do you have any inclination on what that might be? It's definitely one he appeared in, so
okay.
that might narrow it down.
Did he? How many did he name?
He named one. His favorite superhero film.
I'm thinking Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 1.
Oh, I knew it was going to be one of those Sam Raimi Spider-Man ones. Yeah. I just felt like because I think his cameo. I picked his cameo in the second one. Because I know in the first one he saved somebody from a crowd, but I feel like he saved somebody from that coffee shop scene in the second one. I don't remember his cameo.
Well, kind of. It's at the end of that whenever I think it's the bank scene. It's right after the bank scene where he saves him.
Oh, yeah, I think it is.
And there's some debris falling, and he pulls them out of the way or something like that.
Yeah.
Much like the first one. But he said like Spider-Man 1 better. I like Spider-Man 2 a lot. So Stan Lee's favorite Spider-Man 1. So for all those people who... if you see him, he's going to be in Louisville at the end of this month. Get him to sign,
I would have loved it if he was just like didn't pull any punches. Just like, oh yeah, it was totally the Deadpool one because I got to go to a strip club.
He did say he was mad about that.
Oh man,
that actual his performance in that, because they filmed him in a separate set, not at the actual strip club.
Oh so yeah, that's why he's mad. He's like, I wanted to see some titties.
Yep, that's Stan Lee for you right there, buddy. So. He's a good guy. He called me a good man, and that's all I put on my resume from now on. It says Stan Lee called me a good man. Yeah, that leads us into some Spider-Man news, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
So you should have looked at the notes. That definitely would have told you what his favorite film would have been. But Spider-Man Homecoming has added Kenneth Choi, an actor who was actually in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay. What did he do?
He was one of the Howling Commandos.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He's the Asian looking one. And everyone's like, oh, he doesn't speak English. And he's like, yeah, I do.
So do you think they're just casting him in a different role? Because I'm just trying to like, okay.
Yes, it's a different role.
Because the crank in my mind was trying to figure out how we incorporate flashbacks in World War II into Spider-Man. And I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, so no, he's definitely not. They've done this before in Avengers 1. There's a police officer who actually ends up being Agent Sousa and Agent Carter. In Avengers, the not Avengers, Civil War. The lady who confronts Tony Stark in the elevator is going to be in Luke Cage as a different character.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you've got such good actors. Maybe you don't want to limit them to just a small throwaway role.
Yeah, and plus, like, I couldn't think of, when you said his name, I couldn't really think of him. So I think maybe if they're bringing him back up from another Avengers movie, like, maybe he's going to be maybe a little bit of a bigger role. That might be kind of cool. Maybe he's going to be like some sort of like scientist at Oscorp or something like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what goes on. But he was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., playing his character Jim Morita. So definitely, he's been around, so I'm glad Marvel's keeping him. I like him. Good job. And now, let's talk, we're going to switch gears. That's Marvel news. We're going to stay in the Disney family and talk Star Wars, Mike.
Yeah.
But not Star Wars Rogue One, because we know that's going to be just fine. Nobody panic. Star Wars Episode 8. We got our first set photo from the director. I guess because filming's wrapping up. It's in the last steps of filming, and it appears to be Luke Skywalker's cape that he's wearing, like his Jedi cape.
Yeah, and this looks like a really fancy or like hipster like shopping display. Like, buy this cloak, $400, authentic.
Use it for your D&D campaigns. But it's also kind of a little ominous because in A New Hope, all we saw the last bit of Obi-Wan was his cape. So no, I'm just kidding. It has anything to do with that. I'm just giving you a run for your money. But yeah, so that's what's going on with Star Wars. But also the biggest news, which you've already brought up, Star Wars Episode 8 will be scored again by John Williams.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's also doing Indiana Jones, right?
Oh, man. That news is down later in the article. We'll get to that. You ruined the surprise.
I'm just making the podcast more efficient.
Oh, yeah, no. You'll see why it's down there. But,
okay.
But his reason is, for Star Wars, he didn't want anyone else to write music for Daisy Ridley.
Oh, man, she is that actor, Daisy Ridley, is just infectious. I use that word a lot, and I think it's just like when an actor just gets under my skin and I just want to know everything that they're doing. I follow her on Instagram, and I am just under an assumption here, and if I'm wrong, don't tell me, because I just want to live in this fantasy world where usually big actors have somebody else do their social media. Like, everybody else writes it. They're almost like they try to write in the voice of the actor. But I feel like Daisy Ridley is actually typing out these messages under her like photos and videos that she's putting up, and she just seems like so genuinely like nice. And like I could totally get why John Williams would just like swoon over the idea of writing music for her. So I think that just goes to show you Daisy Ridley. She's
so
a bae
hot
right now.
So
she's
hot
a bae
right
now.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And John Williams, he's up there in age, but if we can get some more Star Wars at him, it'll just be magical. Just absolutely magical.
And maybe another mysterious movie that we haven't brought up yet, he might do too.
Yes, maybe. Now we're going to get back into Fox. We saw X-Men Apocalypse. We have a spoiler cast, guys. Listen to our spoiler cast. There for you. But Wolverine 3 is the next Marvel film. And or I guess Fox Marvel film. And to be honest, I'm pretty excited for this as well. It could potentially be titled, the rumor is, just called Wolverine Weapon X. Kind of a throwback to how we saw him in another film. And his title, he's been Weapon X in the comics forever. So I don't care either way, as long as they make a good movie, right?
Yeah, I think that's starting to make sense. Like, I'm trying to lean myself away from this idea of Old Man Logan, because just the more and more I think about it, the more and more it's just not going to make sense. I think Old Man Logan also requires that kind of post-apocalyptic landscape, which I think really makes the story unique when it was made. So I don't know how the remake of Old Man Logan went out, because they just published that like earlier this year, last year. So I think they're just going to kind of take ideas of Logan kind of getting old, not getting older, but, moving on through the world while everybody else gets older around him. He's seeing his, I guess, like hero, idol, Professor Xavier getting older, and he's looking old in some of these photos we're going to talk about. So I think Weapon X kind of makes more sense now than Old Man Logan. Yeah,
so we've got some photos brought to us by Just Jared, and shows Wolverine pushing Professor X in like an older wheelchair, not his floaty wheelchair, and they both look kind of worse for the wear, to be honest. Wolverine's got, Hugh Jackman's got a big beard out. Professor Xavier looks really, really not well, to be honest. Like, If you saw Patrick Stewart like this in real life, you'd think he was sick. In the next photo, however, it shows him with a little girl in a jacket, and that girl's an actress in this movie, not a person standing around. And I'm going to get to that here in a little bit, but I just want to see all three of them together before we get to this next photo of a close-up of Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. And I pointed something out to you on this photo. If you look at Xavier, he's got a bunch of wispy hair on top of his head, which I've never seen before. I mean, that's very, very peculiar because he's normally clean-shaven, very, very well put together. And both of these actors in this moment do not look put together.
Yeah, I mean, the setting, it looks like, you know, I'm trying to figure out the location. For some reason, I feel like it kind of seems like a funeral type of location. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if like they've just went to Beast's funeral or something like that. I don't know.
Well, it's a theater kind of performance place. It's actually a casino. They're actually at a casino, so they're running out of a casino. So something was in this casino. I don't expect to see Wolverine in this very long. This could be a flashback. This actually brings us to our fourth photo, it shows Hugh Jackman with the little girl earlier, and she looks to be shot. Like, she's bloody and things. And I think this is a flashback of when they meet what I think is X-23, the clone of Wolverine. And that's the little girl version of her before she gets older later in the future.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I just have no idea where this movie is going to go. I haven't seen the Wolverine or the Wolverine movie since I saw it that one time in theaters. So I don't even really know necessarily how much it holds up. I know people are all bent out of shape about
the first one or the second one?
The second one.
Okay.
The second one. I know a lot of people were bent out of shape about how they handled the samurai
in that
Samurai movie. But I remember it being decent when I saw it. I don't know necessarily how it holds up, even though it's not that old. But I got to go back and watch that movie.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I think to me I like a personal Wolverine story that's not, inflated by other mutants like Origins was. So to me, that was a really, really good one. But the what brings me to like the reason I think this is a flashback, because they're still casting X-23. And there's a bunch of notes, but I'm just going to pick out a couple things in here. Her code name is Zoe.
Okay.
That's not the name for X-23. Her name is, I believe, is Laura. Laura something. Laura Kinney. So I don't know where Zoe comes from. She the character is a person raised in captivity in the time of battle, and has no family. She is now released out to the outside world, and everything's new and a new experience. And the very explicit note says, "Do not play it cute for this character. Do not wear makeup. Do not do this is not a princess thing." So this potential X-23 casting says that to me. The first photo of the little girls, they meet her for the first time, and now they're getting into the future where they'll have flashbacks, because I don't think Wolverine's going to keep that beard and that weird hair forever. I think we're going to get to see an older Wolverine style, so that's just me. And there's a lot here. I'm not going to go over it all, but I mean, I'm really excited for the next Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
Because I think, as we've seen with Deadpool, smaller pieces with, just a couple mutants work out really well, and I think Wolverine 3 with that R rating is going to take us to a whole new level.
Ooh, yeah. Super excited.
Super excited. However, I am not excited for Gambit, which...
Man, Gambit news. It's been a while.
Yes, for good reason. So, a couple bits of notes here. None of these sound good except one of them. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I guess 2 out of 3 are bad. Never mind. Channing Tatum is committed to the film despite rumors he's been joining DC. Have you heard these rumors?
I have not heard the DC rumors. What was that?
Okay, so for The Flash, when they added the new director, Rick Famuyiwa, last week, he went, and as soon as they announced him, he followed a bunch of DC people. Everyone was DC. Everyone was that, except for Channing Tatum. And a pile of other characters and
so
actors.
people are tracking when directors start following people on Twitter. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. So they thought, Channing Tatum's now joining DC, and he's going to play. A lot of people thought Captain Cold. He'd be a good Captain Cold.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see it too. But I think that's a very I don't know, I don't think they'll use that character because he's in the TV show doing so well. Or is he? That actually just clicked the light bulb in my head. So Channing Tatum says he's committed to the film despite rumors joining DC. However, Doug Liman, the director, is reportedly looking to sign on to another film, which may push Gambit back even more.
Man,
which kind of doesn't give me any faith in this film at all.
Have they've lost, like, what, 2 directors now?
Well, they've lost one director, but Lyman will probably be the director, but he may, like, his schedule may push the production of this one back.
Yeah, and I think we're still kind of holding true where we're not sure Gambit makes a good standalone movie to begin with.
Yes. However, there's an interesting note here. Fox does not have non-compete clauses in their contracts, meaning that any character can go do another film, a comic book film, whether it be DC or Sony or Marvel, despite the fact they've been in a Fox film, such as Michael B. Jordan joining Black Panther.
So, I mean, it's possible. I mean, because technically Channing Tatum playing Gambit, he's not in Marvel Cinematic Universe wheelhouse, so he's in that Fox universe, which, who knows what's going to happen with it now, with X-Men Apocalypse not kind of being a shining beacon like they thought it might be, but I mean, screw it. I mean, he's a hot commodity. There's no reason, like, just waiting around for Gambit to film. He's just like, I'm going to go do another movie.
Yeah, and the Flash would definitely be an interesting choice. I honestly, they'd probably have to rethink a lot of their Gambit choices up to that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to play out, but that is some clarification. Speaking of the Flash and the DC Cinematic Universe, Suicide Squad has some news. It has been officially rated PG-13 for sequences of violence and action throughout, disturbing behavior, suggestive content, and language.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be rated R, so.
Yeah, apparently there was a large group of people who were like, oh, this is going to be rated R. No, it wasn't. They didn't film it with that in mind. They're not going to do it. Not yet, at least, so.
I bet maybe they might do a similar gimmick with Batman vs. Superman, where maybe they have enough left over to where they can up it to, like, that rated R. Because I know it's going to get me to watch that Batman Superman re-release. I got to see what makes that so rated R. So maybe it'll work for Suicide Squad as well.
Or should we have an unrated ultimate version of the spoiler cast for Batman?
Okay, unrated. We'll just open it with a bunch of swear words.
That's right, and dirty jokes. However, there are 3 new images. There's more than 3 images. There's a bunch of images out for this, but I picked 3 I want to talk about.
Okay.
First off, we got the Enchantress, who looks like she's covered in mud and grime and not with the team. Yet again, I want to point that out. I think she's the villain.
You're holding strong to that theory.
I am. However, I do like the authenticity of her outfit and how she looks, and that looks really cool. Very different. Very, very unique. Next up is the Joker. A good look at him. I believe he's talking to Common, a.k.a. the tattooed man in this photo. You can kind of see his tattoos, his bling. Looks very like you go into a club and he's in the back room of that club kind of image. So there's the Joker, and lastly, the last image is in the prison when they're assembling the Suicide Squad, and we see Scott Eastwood there, very very prominent in the left in the green tank top. We've seen him in the trailer, but what role does he play? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean Scott Eastwood has been popping up a lot recently in a lot of talks of casting of many things. For a while, he was rumored for the Han Solo role. So he's no small potato. So if he's on set, it seems like he's gonna be a big deal at some point in the movie.
Yeah, or at least the cinematic universe as a whole.
Yeah.
Again, popular theory is that he's Nightwing, playing there by Batman.
Maybe. I mean, this could be kind of like a way for Nightwing to get some extra kind of abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely, show he's more military trained than I don't know, something that fits in this universe. But either way, Scott Eastwood's there with 3 of the other main characters. So we'll definitely play this by ear and see what that looks like, because I think that might be our next superhero movie this year.
Yeah, it's definitely our next superhero movie,
and that's not till I believe is August,
isn't it?
So yeah. It's going to be an interesting long summer as I'm not patient, waiting for Civil War to come out on DVD, as we talked about. And that brings us to Batman the Killing Joke, the animated film. We've talked about it a little bit in passing. It is receiving a single night theatrical run for the release. And it's R-rated, so if you guys want to see the Killing Joke, the animated movie in theaters, or buy it for the same price as a movie ticket, honestly, this is your chance to do so. So keep your eyes open, look at your theaters, and you can do it. And this is the next bit of news, Mike. Are you ready for this next bit of news?
Bring it.
Okay, because this is probably one of my favorite DC bits of news this week, and that is Injustice 2, the video game, has been announced with a first trailer and gameplay footage.
And I believe this is a fighting game, right?
Yes. So, have you ever played the first Injustice Gods Among Us game?
I think I played it very briefly on like an iPad. So,
so
I definitely probably didn't get the full experience, but it looked cool.
Okay, so when Injustice came out, so a long time ago, there's Mortal Kombat versus DC, which was like essentially like Marvel versus Capcom, but it didn't do so well. So they created a fighting game, Injustice Gods Among Us, which is in the future. Superman has just gone crazy and taken over the world, and he's got his team of people like Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Some people are on his team like Strong Power, but there's also like Batman trying to figure out a way to take him down and work from the streets up. It's built by the guys who did Mortal Kombat. It's really well done. The story's amazing, and that's coming from me. It spawned a five comic book series, Injustice Volumes 1 through 5, because there's year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading up to the game. And it's just fantastic. So Injustice 2 has been announced, the next fighting game, and the first trailer shows that this is a little different. You get armor, and the way your character actually adapts to the fighting, like if you win or lose, depends on how the character progresses throughout the game.
Yeah, it seems like that kind of cinematic trailer is just like, oh hey, everybody has armor, everybody gets armor. So I wasn't sure if that was in the first game, but it looked kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely not. This doesn't look like the first game. This kind of seems like maybe like a fighting simulator kind of game. But I don't know. It didn't really reference the initial game, so I don't know if it's related or a separate entity in and of itself.
It seems like if you liked buying those armored Batman action figures that had no continuity in whatever TV show or movie that they were making them for, it seems like you get to play some more armored Batman.
Yeah, totally. And and to go back to your point, the Injustice game for iPad and iPhone is nothing like the main game.
That's what I figured.
so that you can play that and get credits that apply to your actual video game version. So you can buy skins and costumes and other stuff and more whatever in the game. So that's kind of the point of the iPad version. But this one, the gameplay footage shows a bunch of cool characters. Supergirl taking front stage in a lot of this stuff. Superman, Batman. I believe we saw Atrocitus, the Red Lantern, in there. Black Manta or Black Ray. I don't know. One of the Aquaman villains. Captain Cold's gun. Aquaman looks a little weird. I'm going to be honest with you. But he's in there. I mean, there's just a lot to like in the first Injustice game. So I think I'm going to get this, Mike. I think I'm really excited to get this
All right,
game.
well, I'm looking forward to some Twitch streams. Maybe I can see how it plays.
Yes, definitely. Which brings us to the point here that we might have a lot more information at the end of this week, because E3 is this week, the biggest gaming kind of convention in of the year, I think.
Yeah. E3 is really exciting. I think a lot of people who listen to our show will know by now that I don't play too many video games anymore, but I'm always up on the video game news because, I don't know, the industry is still really exciting. I might not have time to sit down and pick up a controller, but I still like seeing the things that get made. And E3 is always really exciting because, like, E3 is kind of a unique convention where it's just chocked full of announcements. Like when you come down to like things like Comic-Con, usually you know that stuff is coming and then you just kind of get new footage or new trailers or new screenshots. But with E3, like legitimate new things get announced, like sometimes consoles, like brand new titles, like release things get new fresh light. So I like E3. So my biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is probably, I'm hoping, crossing my fingers that Nintendo shows up, straps on a pair of balls, and it's just like, here's our next gen console. Finally, good graphics. We're going to have good online play. We're going to play with the big boys. We're going to be everything that everybody else is and more. And we're finally going to be able to call ourselves like the number one like video game console and publisher on the planet. So I'm hoping they show up with a big old sack of nuts, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But that's what I'm crossing my fingers for.
You might be waiting for a long time, Mike, to be honest with you. I have a Nintendo Wii, and we don't play it nearly as much. I am waiting for Pokemon Snap to come on the virtual consoles. Like, I had a big conversation last night around the fire pit about the Wii U and how it's built for nostalgia, but not for, third-party games. However, my biggest thing here, I'm a big Halo fan, and Halo Wars 2 supposedly the multiplayer beta drops tomorrow after the Microsoft conference. I'm a big Xbox guy. I actually have the new dashboard they'll probably be previewing tomorrow, where it went from saying "Hey Xbox" at my Connect, I now have to say "Hey Cortana," which is annoying as shit that they added another syllable, and it's really frustrating. It doesn't work yet, but it's a beta, so I'm okay with it. I have fun. I'm good. But I'm really excited to see what Microsoft brings to the table. A little leak here. The EA is going on right now, but we're gonna talk about this next week. But just to kind of like get your feet wet a little bit, Mike. An Xbox Slim. Think about it. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Xbox is going to come out with no disk drive. It's going to be all hard drive, and I think I might be down for that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll keep you guys. Next week is our video game. We're going to do a wrap up on that, and we'll talk about it. But that brings us to another DC announcement this week, which kind of made me sad, but not sad at the same time. Is Justice League Dark. We've talked about this movie. It's been on the plate. Guillermo del Toro was working on it. But as we know, anything he does, says he's doing, he never finishes. However, it's been confirmed to be in production as an animated film in the DC lineup.
Yeah, that's a weird pill to swallow, because it's kind of like two ways you can look at it. The sad way you can look at it is just like, oh man, we were hoping maybe Guillermo would get on top of this, give us some more superhero love, since who knows if we're ever going to see Hellboy 3. Like, oh, this could be really, really cool. But then at the same time, DC kind of makes some of the best animated stuff out there, so they could make this really phenomenal. So do you think there's a possibility that maybe we could still get the movie? Like the live action?
I don't think so. I think at the point, maybe the budget for a Justice League Dark movie just wasn't there. It doesn't fit in their continuity at all. And they're like, you know what? In animation, we have no universe. We can do whatever we want on a very same budget, because people are just drawing it or working on their computers. So let's go ahead and take the idea we've got here and just convert it to animation and just make it happen that way. And so I don't think it'll ever happen as a movie form. I think we'll only get the animated version. However, I will probably watch this movie. I have skipped all the other ones have been Batman movies, to be honest. Okay, I'm not that thrilled about watching Batman Bad Blood, because all I can think about is Taylor Swift in my head every time I say that. So but there are some great DC animation films I do enjoy. I like the Green Lantern First Flight. Things like that. I would like to see a Green Lantern Blackest Night animated film. I think that would be really fun, or War of Light series. But Justice League Dark, I'll probably watch it. I'm going to be honest. So
Nice.
Yes. A character that might show up in it, probably won't, is Lobo. Are you familiar with Lobo?
Yeah, he's kind of like an anti-hero, I believe.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero. He's an interstellar mercenary and bounty hunter. He's kind of got a Rob Zombie look.
Yeah.
If you cross Rob Zombie with Spawn, I think is what he looks like. Very, very anti-hero. However, Jason Fuchs, I believe you pronounce his name. He wrote Wonder Woman for DC. Okay, has teased his involvement. He's reported early. We reported him earlier to be writing Lobo, and he's been taking pictures of Lobo comics and tweeting them lately.
So you're talking live action Lobo now, right? Not
yes,
animated?
I am. I believe Lobo will be a live action film at some point in time if the script kind of takes off.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of groundwork, because Deadpool, I guess, was not super well known to the public, but he had a pretty strong indie following. But Lobo's really not on many people's radar. You got to be a DC fan to kind of know who Lobo is. You're not going to get like side-loaded Lobo knowledge of just kind of watching some random DC animated stuff or just seeing the DC movies that have been out. So they're going to have some groundwork to put down for Lobo.
Yeah, definitely. What's really kind of weird is DC announced their slate, and it sounds like all the movies they're working on are nothing really on their wheelhouse anymore. We knew The Rock is playing Shazam and Black Adam in the Shazam movie, but we haven't heard anything else about the Shazam movie at all. We've actually heard more about Lobo, which isn't even on the radar. So
yeah, I think a lot of stuff got mixed up and pushed around and on pause after the aftermath of Batman vs Superman, which makes sense. You kind of need to lean back, take a second, take a deep breath, and go, okay, let's fix this. Let's make people happy to go see a DC movie again. So it makes sense that maybe we're not getting a whole lot out yet.
And to me, I think it's since we announced it back in March that he was going to be writing it. I think it's a Deadpool. Like it's DC's Deadpool, because it can be R-rated, raunchy, bad, horrible, dirty jokes, and really no consequences. So that's how
Makes
I feel.
sense. Yeah.
Supergirl TV show. We talked about Supergirl last week. Season 2 is looking to shape up to be something interesting here. Superman will officially be in season 2, not as a shadow. They're casting him for the season.
Yeah, that's right, because CW doesn't play. I think this is a really, really cool way to bring a big guy like Superman into the CW universe, kind of in like a back alley way. Like, it's hard for me to imagine a superhero TV show. Obviously there's Smallville, but I think that kind of makes sense because you have a character like Clark Kent really struggling learning his powers, and then plus, imagine trying a TV budget trying to display Superman every episode. That'd be really, really hard because he's always flying, shooting lasers, picking up big, heavy things. That's big screen movie theater experiences. So I could see like this is a way to bring Superman into the CW universe maybe once or twice a season. Maybe he jumps over into the Arrow universe one time. Maybe he shows up and helps the Flash once, and then we don't see him again until a year later. So I think that's cool. And if they're willing to bring in Superman, imagine if they could bring in Batman.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right here. So, a couple things this brings out to me. Maybe he's only in the pilot. Maybe this is part of the Flashpoint paradox we're going to get because of the Flash going back in time at the end of season 2. And maybe Superman is something different than we thought he would be come this time around. And that's what Supergirl's dealing with. Also, maybe Superman... since Superman's being officially added to a TV series, that means DC has loosened up maybe some reins on their characters. Because a lot of the characters that were in the TV shows Arrow, they had their own Suicide Squad. In the Flash, they were killed off or removed from the show so they could be in their movies. But bringing Superman back in, so maybe they're not going to be using Superman for a while other than maybe the Justice League movies.
I think they just got to realize that CW is doing a really good job on CW level budgets. They're cranking out 23 episodes a year, and they're getting fans really, really hyped and excited, potentially for their movies later in the
except
future.
for the Arrow fans. They're still not happy.
Yeah. Oh, no. So, I would love bringing the big man.
Yeah. So we'll have to definitely see how it goes. But also there's a bunch of characters coming to the show. Lena Luthor, I believe, is the sister of Lex Luthor. I've never heard of her actually before this. So anyone who has any information on Lena Luthor, it's Lex's younger sister. I think she appeared in 2010. Or no, first appearance 1961. I lied, but she was really big in the recent line of comics. Maggie Sawyer, she's currently the girlfriend of Batgirl, I believe, or Batwoman in the comic books. That's a popular comic book character. Smaller ones are someone called Nick Farrow, the Doctor, really, really unspecific, and no, it's not Doctor Who, and Snapper Carr, who is like a reporter being added to where she works. So,
all right, okay.
It looks like the CW shuffling some characters around. They're gonna find out what worked and what didn't work, and maybe tailor the second season more to their stories. And like you said, we trust them. So let's see what that plays out as. Another show that we didn't really watch, and we should feel bad about it a little bit, is Gotham season 3. But they're adding an interesting character this time around. Vicky Vale from the Batman movies is actually joining. Not the same actress, not the same character. We don't know the role she's going to be in it, but Vicky Vale will be joining Gotham season 3.
Oh.
And that just kind of goes to show they're just throwing everything out the window. They're like, whatever actually happened in Batman's life, we're just making our own new things now.
Yeah, I feel like this might be a good binge watching show. Just whenever I'm running out of things to watch, and it's like, yeah, I should just dig into Gotham a little bit. So maybe, no promises, but it'd be nice to see what they're doing over there.
I feel Gotham's one of those shows where I need to find the highlight episodes of the first 2 seasons and just watch those, and then just start with 3.
That might be
I don't need to watch them all because I heard the first season is kind of slow and kind of drags and isn't very good. So if anyone knows where I can find a highlight reel or highlight episodes of season 1, 2, let me know and I'll watch it. So, and that brings us to another CW show, Legends of Tomorrow. We watched it. We've not watched it. It's whatever. It floats back and forth. Vixen will be joining the cast for season 2.
Ooh, that's cool. Vixen popped up in Arrow, I believe.
Arrow season 5, and she has
Yeah.
her own cartoon on the CW Seed with 2 seasons. However, the actress who played her and voices her, Megalyn EK, will not be the TV version for Legends of Tomorrow.
Ooh, I wonder what happened there.
So the actress who plays her is still going to be the current timeline version and the cartoon version. She's too busy. However, they're going to go back in time and get an older version of Vixen and bring her into the time stream.
All right, I guess that's one way to do it.
So when you have time travel, you can do whatever you want, is what we're finding out here. So whatever works, as long as it's good, and we'll have to see how that plays off. So Legends of Tomorrow Season 2, probably this fall. Last bit of DC news. We've had a lot of DC news here today, and that's great. Justice League Action, the cartoon we've talked about that looks a little weird, is coming. It's a little fun. There's our first look at a lot of major characters here on this image at like a press conference last week. And you can kind of see some of the characters here. I see Firestorm, Hawkman, Harley Quinn, Lobo himself.
Yeah, looks like Shazam's up there, the Joker, Martian Manhunter.
Yep, I believe that to be a Doctor, a Blue Beetle on the upper left, a Riddler. I can't even tell who the third one is. We'll have the image here for you guys to look at. But a lot of these characters are kind of interesting. You can make out who they are. You can't, but definitely interested. I think the Swamp Thing on the second row, far left. A lot of interesting characters. A very unique, I guess not unique, but a very telling art style. Again, it kind of looks like Batman the Animated Series, but more updated and a little more colorful. So it's good to see Harley Quinn going back to her old Batman the Animated Series look, and
back to her roots.
Who knows if it's in the continuity or not? So we'll have to see how this plays off, because the Joker and her look a lot the same from that.
Yeah, I bet we get some news at Comic-Con about this.
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con will give us a lot of clarification on what's going on. But yeah, you can take a look at these characters who are going to show up in there and see if any of them are your favorites, if you know any of them. So let us know. I'm interested to see. Now for the bit of news Mike spoiled earlier. We're going to talk a little bit about Indiana Jones 5. That will be scored by John Williams as well.
Yeah, John Williams.
Yes, he did not give a reason for scoring this one like he did Star Wars, Daisy Ridley. Maybe he just has a thing for Harrison Ford and likes to follow him around. But Indiana Jones 5 will be scored by John Williams, which, even though we may not be the biggest fans of how this sounds, since the last one didn't go over very well, and it's the same writer, I believe, coming back, we'll have to play it by ear. Wink, wink, because we're going to listen to John Williams' music. And,
Okay.
yeah, you can tell it's the end of the podcast when the jokes are starting to get really bad. But so, yeah, John Williams. We'll let you know what goes on there. A potential spoiler cast for this summer is Independence Day.
Yeah.
Resurgence. And there's officially, as well, been given a PG-13 rating. However, the explanation for why was not revealed as well. But
I think that makes sense. Usually these tent-pole summer action movies kind of have to be PG-13. So my wife's looking forward to the movie. I had to double check with her to make sure that we were going to see this one. She was just like, yeah, duh, of course we're seeing it. I was just like, okay, just making sure I didn't remember. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this. This is the type of movie that you take your time and you get concessions. You know, a lot of these like Marvel movies, I'm just like, nope, not dealing with concessions, not putting any liquid in my body, not getting any popcorn. I don't want to worry about having to get something caught in my teeth. But like, no, man, I'm gonna go all out, and I'm gonna drive people like you crazy who hate the theater snacks, and I'm getting all the goods for this one.
Well, I only hate theater snacks in a movie I'm really interested in. So this one, I could probably care less as well if you're eating it. But it's I believe it's 2.5 hours long, is what it's looking at here. And it's almost exactly 20 years after the first one came out. So
Yeah.
And it's got your Jeff Goldblum in it. Oh,
Yeah.
That's for
Jeff.
you.
Jeff. Love Jeff.
Okay, all right. Mike's a little excited. Let's reel him back in a little bit with some Pacific Rim 2 news.
This isn't reeling me back in. We like buried the lead the whole podcast. This is my favorite news of the whole week right here, and we saved it almost for the end.
Yes, and it's where our title comes from, actually. If you haven't figured it out, John Boyega is cast as the lead role in Pacific Rim 2.
Ooh, I'll tell you why this is big news. This is big news because this shows a lot of faith in this sequel that we weren't always 100% sure what we were going to get. Not just like, oh, we lost a director, there's no time, Guillermo can't do it. We just didn't know if it was ever going to get greenlit. just because the reception of the first one was soft, and it got some more money internationally, but then things kind of came back around for it. So this just shows we got a lot of trust in this movie, because John Boyega is a huge, giant mega star now because he was in The Force Awakens and everybody fell in love with him there. So this is awesome, because some of the criticism people might have from the first Pacific Rim is that lead actor. I don't remember his name. He was like the Australian guy that was
Sons
doing
of Anarchy.
that was doing an American accent. He wasn't probably the biggest star power draw for that movie, and some people said his performance was just kind of maybe a little bit weird. But yeah, John Boyega, freaking John Bojaeger riding in a Jaeger. Oh, that's gonna be amazing.
We owe the title to Quentin Parker, friend of the show. He texted that to us whenever we got the news. My theory is John Boyega might be the son of Idris Elba, who was in the first one.
I think that makes sense. I really loved Idris Elba's character from the first one, so I love that there might be some lineage that carries on with him. And man, I'm just so excited, because this just really shows faith in the movie. And also, John Boyega can do any movie he wants right now. Any movie. I'm sure his inbox is flooded, crammed with scripts. He can just put his finger on any of them, and they'll give it to him. I'm sure he doesn't even have to audition.
Yeah, come do our show.
Yeah, John, you come sit down right next to my little card table here, and you can cozy up to my mic.
No, you don't have to go to Mike's little closet hole room where you record the show. You can just get on Skype with us. All right, I'll take it. All right. Send us a picture of yourself on Skype, and we'll ask you a question or two. So. Oh
man, so yeah, I'm guessing that you would be at some level excited for this as well.
Yeah, I like Pacific Rim too. I like Charlie Day in it. I think he's gonna be a great addition to the second one. The mythology is such a rich world, and we only got to see a little bit, the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, on the kaiju dimension and what was going on there. So I'm really kind of interested to see what goes on. I'm glad I got to see it in theaters, because I don't think it holds up as well on a small TV at home. But really excited to see where it goes. And like you said, John Boyega can do anything he wants. He's a Star Wars star. Yeah. So if he's taking this, I believe in it.
I guarantee for a fact that we will spoiler cast the fudge out of that movie.
Yeah, we totally will. Another movie we might spoiler cast, just to help Mike clarify where this exists in the timeline, is Alien Covenant.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up the show with this confusion, okay.
Yes, so it's before the Alien movie, Mike, but after Prometheus. So just to help you out here. Catherine Waterston is apparently not the lead character actress in the movie. However, we saw an image of her last week or the week before. Her character has been revealed, which ties it into the first Alien movie. Are you interested to hear what this is?
Is she related to Ridley?
To Ripley?
Ripley, that's right.
Actually, it's her mother. You called it. You guessed it right away.
Nice.
So I think that's a little too ironic that they're both space people, but she did have that Ripley look whenever in that first photo. So
this is just what they need to do. Just go back and just retitle Prometheus, just to help me out here, which is called Alien Prometheus.
Prometheus, and Mike will never complain again. How about Alien 0, and then this one can be Alien 0.5, and then we just numerically go.
No 0.5s. I can go on a rant about 0.5s right now, and actually I will for just a minute here, because I just want a couple of seconds, because I have a platform.
You know what? Let's go with it. It's the end of the show. We got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Except an audience.
Have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts is just a ridiculous shit show now, so... if anybody out there says that they 100% follow the plot of Kingdom Hearts, they are straight up lying to you, because no one can follow that plot. The first episode, the first game was relatively simpler compared to everything else that came out, but basically my round of points is they came out with all these reduxes, redos, HD revives, 1.5s, 2.5s, 3.5s, all these weird numbers. They started cramming in all these Game Boy Advance and DS games and calling them 3/4 it's just no one can make sense of it. I'm not playing that third game, even if I had a console to play it on, because I wouldn't even understand it. You have to rely so much on these hidden notes to read to figure anything out. It's just crazy Japanese ridiculousness, so I'm sure it kind of fits the tone with other games that come out over there. But It just leaves me in a world where I wish things were a little bit simpler, especially now since that game crosses over with Disney properties, which could heavily cross over with Marvel properties. That would be crazy. Are you kidding me? A Kingdom Hearts game where you get to like team up with like Iron Man and stuff, but the game's just too complicated. So that's where my point numbering system just gets ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully there's a timeline of releases on Wikipedia for it.
It doesn't matter. I think someone put together, like someone over at IGN or something made like an omnibus video of where it would explain the Kingdom Hearts universe to you. It's 90 minutes long. It's like a fucking movie to understand what the hell's been going on with this game franchise. And even after you watch it, it makes no sense.
Yeah, because it's really because there's Kingdom Hearts and 2, and then 1.5 Remix was essentially an HD with like the mobile games added in there, and then 2.5, which was the same thing, and then now there's 2.8. Who the fuck decided to skip 0.3s? Like,
and then some of the DS names were called like 3/8, 5/8, quarters, something.
358/2 days, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And then 3D green dot distance. I'm just looking at this. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like, stop naming these games.
If we have any fans out there that can write in a 1 to 2 paragraph,
a tweet or two.
Yeah, just like something really condensed to explain the universe overall. I would be so impressed if you could condense that to kind of like half of a page in Google Doc. If you can open up a standard Google Doc and make no changes and write a half a page that explains what goes on in that game universe and preps any lay person for the third game, I would be impressed to no end, and I'll read the whole thing on the show.
Yeah, I would. Now even if they did have Marvel characters in it, I'd be pretty okay with that. What
Yeah,
did they have a Pixar version yet? Are there Pixar characters in these?
I'm trying to remember the best I can. I can't speak for any of the mobile offshoots, but I knew that they did put Pirates of the Caribbean in the second game. Okay. So that means that they're willing to kind of branch out to kind of real life people. So, and Tron was in the second one too. So I would think you might as well. I mean, they're not doing that Disney Infinity thing anymore, so you might as well put them in Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah, and Final Fantasy is so hot right now. The 15th one's coming out, so might as well keep doing it. But that's our news for the week. I'm going to cut you off before you get on another video game, Mike, because video games are next week. You're jumping the gun. Can't have that on our show. We got to stick to a format here. So, in the meantime, if people want to see your picture, I believe you took it of the Point Break Live. Where can they find these pictures and stuff that you do, Mike?
Well, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com every single week. Chris, you're going to be up on that Microsoft panel tomorrow, and I got to even look up at what time it starts out here because I'm probably going to be streaming it from the office. But I'm sure you're going to be live tweeting about that. So where can they catch all that? You
can find me on Twitter at Valdan, VALDAN, or I might do some stuff on Comic UI to write it up, so you can read it on Comic UI. We have a Facebook and Twitter page as well. Just kind of checking the news here before we left here. There is a new Star Wars game coming out that's not Battlefront.
Ooh, that's hot off the presses.
That's hot off the presses. EA just announced it because EA's panels today, and those are platform agnostic right now. But I'm really kind of excited to see what a new game does for the thing. Yeah. And it there's a couple images look great. We'll talk about it next week. But where else can people find us if they want to, take us on the road with them, maybe to Australia, South America, wherever they want to listen to that? Mike, where can they find those channels?
Well, as always, the best place to go is to visit superheroslate.com. I know sometimes it can get confusing to subscribe to podcasts because you got to search in different search fields off of different platforms. Just head on over our website, superheroslate.com. We have a nice, easy, very forward-facing giant yellow subscribe button. That's the best place you can find the links to all the places you can subscribe. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Tumblr. You can subscribe to us via email. Get us right in your email inbox. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. If you're a fan of the show, please consider heading on over to iTunes and leaving us a review. It helps us pop up in some virgin earlobes. And if you're a super fan of the show, and I love seeing these super fans come out of the woodwork, just share the show with a friend. That's what we love. Spread the love of Superhero Slate, and we'll be here every single week. You hear us talking about spoiler casting movies that are 2 years out because you know we're going to be here in 2 years doing this.
Yes,
So,
and I also hear the infamous California sirens going on. I'm hearing, no train today for me, but I'll jinx it before it happens. And, just pick your poison. iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, whatever. Like, listen to us how you want. I think that's really cool that we have all these things here. And Mike works really hard to make sure that happens and looks pretty. So
yeah, cool. I'm going to go eat a grilled cheese, I think.
Oh, man, that sounds delicious. I think I'm going to go stare at this Ecto Cooler longingly for the next month until we can drink it. So,
all right, cool.
We'll catch you guys later.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Here it is. Oh, gotta open this.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
I got it. I didn't drink the Ecto Cooler.